Gay and Associates, attorneys and counselors at law specializing in immigration law, are proud to announce the opening of 2 new offices. Now open: Jackson Heights and Ozone Park, Queens. Immigration, bankruptcy, divorce, personal injury.
Call us for a free initial personal consultation at 718-263-5999. Gay and Associates, attorneys and counselors at law. Hello viewers, this is attorney Naresh Gehi, and today we are going to talk about the H1b cap. As you all know, that the H1b cap reaches very soon. So always I get questions from students and from foreign nationals who tell me, Mr. Gehi, unfortunately I missed the cap. I could not make it in the 65,000 quota. I could not make it in the 20,000 quota for master students. So the question is that how should you survive in the meanwhile until the next quota opens up? So we're going to discuss about options for students and foreign nationals in connection with the H1b cap. So the topic for today is options after the cap is completed for the H1b quota. So with me I have Sandeep Nair from my office, who has a lot of questions, especially from students who are very much disappointed because they could not get the papers in on time, and especially from foreign nationals who tried the best to get the papers in on time, but unfortunately they could not. So now we're going to discuss about what options do they have and how can they maintain their status in the United States until the next cap opens up in April 2013. So now we're going to talk about the completion of the cap for the year 2013 and how can students maintain their status in the meanwhile and be legal in the United States. And I have Sandeep Nair. Welcome, Sandeep.
Thank you,
It's always a pleasure talking to you. And we're on a very serious issue because we've been getting constant calls, especially because we've been doing so many H1Bs over the years for people and for companies that, Mr. Gehi, what is the option? So folks, we're going to talk about what should you do, especially after the H1B quota is full and you did not make it. The most important thing for you to remember is that you have to continue to be legal in the United States, because this will help you tremendously in future. Take an example that you're here on a student visa and now the H1B quota is full. The very first option that you need to consider is to continue on your student visa. If you can continue that, that'll be fantastic. And what you need to do in the meanwhile is keep applying for jobs. If you're interested in working on an H1B visa, keep interviewing. And after your interview is done, retain a lawyer right away. Do not wait until the last minute. For example, what I've seen over the years is that most people who have retained our firm were people who came in right away and did not come in when the H1B quota opened up, because the company was very happy with the candidate. They said, definitely we're going to employ you, either on your OPD or after you get your H1B. So the process should always begin immediately, because we are going to encounter the same problem next year, probably. So the question remains is that advanced preparation is a must and continue on your student visa. Now sometimes students tell me that, Mr. Gehi, I have a big problem. The school does not want to admit me because they said that until the fall semester doesn't start, I'm going to have a gap. That can be a problem. So therefore, what I would do if I were you, I would rather prefer going back to my home country, but I would not become illegal. The other option which you may have is after you finished your student visa, and if you have not toured the United States, if you haven't visited other states, you should consider applying for a change of status for a visitor's visa extension. Recently, we had a client whose student visa came to an end. In fact, he had a few days remaining, and we were successful in getting him 6 months on a B1, B2. Of course, it was a lot of work, but the student demonstrated the fact that he wanted to travel the United States before he went back to his home country. So that may be another option that you can also basically consider, that you can go on a B2 visa for pleasure. The other option may be that now your student visa is coming to an end. Consider the B1 as an option, the business visa, the business visa, because now what you can show is that you have a degree and you want to tour the United States, meet with business people, and develop business before you go back to your home country. That can be fantastic at times, and that can help you tremendously, especially if you're looking at being in this country for approximately 4 to 6 months. Now, after that, there's another very important option that you may have. And this is something that not many students explore because of paucity of knowledge. And when people come in and visit me, and when I've seen them in person or when I've reviewed the emails, the very first thing I tell them is to send me their resumes. And those students start talking to me and they have extraordinary talents. For example, you're a well-known musician, okay? Or if you're a well-known painter, or if you're a well-known artist, you may be eligible for an O visa. If you're a top-notch computer programmer who's well-known, consider the O visa as a possibility. This is something wherein you may fit in, and that'll be fantastic for you. Do not forget that the H1b quota for not-for-profit organizations is always open. So if you can work for a non-profit, that'll be fantastic. That may not be subjected to the quota. So my question is that there are ways under which you can still qualify for the H1b visa, or you may be able to change your visa status to some other category. The bottom line is that there's no substitute for proper legal help in these matters. So when we do H1, we try to explore all the possibilities. Now, recently we got a call from someone who said, Mr. Gay, I have a very complex RFE on my H1B, and immigration is questioning the specialty occupation, and they are questioning my job title. Is there something for me to worry about? Yes, there's a lot for you to worry about. Why? Because if you are doing it by yourself, or if your company lawyer is not very good at handling RFEs, your case will be denied. This is because, unlike the past, immigration looks at RFEs very closely, and there's a very, very, very serious examination of the RFEs. And mostly we get retained, especially from people who have complex RFEs. So now what do we do in that case? We need to understand the nature of the business. We need to understand the qualifications that you may possess. And we need to ensure the fact that we submit a plethora of evidence to immigration to ensure the fact that your H1B is approved. So remember, in between, if you already got into the cap, and at this time, if you got an RFE, it would be great for you to go with a very seasoned lawyer, especially because there's no substitute for that, and others you may wind up getting a denial and wind up in troubled waters. Now, another question which I have is that one other option. Now, as you all know, we are talking about different options you may have after the H1B cap of 2013. Consider getting married. A client of mine came in last year and told me, Mr. Gay, I have this horrible situation, and I'm just about to finish my student visa up, and my girlfriend is a green card holder. She's not a citizen. What should I do? We were able to settle this guy, even when he was considering getting married to a green card holder, because what we did, we kept him legal as much as we could, and we applied for the citizenship of the spouse, and later on, this client was able to get his permanent residence in the United States. So these are some of the options. And for people from some of the countries, like, for example, there are some countries wherein people are eligible for the e-visa. The e-visa is a brilliant way, actually, for you to apply for a non-immigrant visa here. And for example, you want to buy a business. So consider the e-visa as a possibility. And if nothing works, and if you have more than $500,000 that you can invest in the United States, And the good news is that nowadays, you don't even have to hire 10 people. You don't have to hire 10 people. You can invest in a regional center and you can get your green card easily. So the question is that there are options for people and you need to explore them properly. Now there was another person who came in who did not make into the H1b quota, and he had tears in his eyes, and he said that he's a gay and from the Middle East. So the first question which I asked him was that, do you think that if you go to Middle East, the place where you belong to, will they allow you and your partner to live over there? He said, no way, I will be killed. Now, this clearly shows that he has a fantastic case for political asylum, and that can be an option. Political asylum applies to people who have a fear of persecution in their home country in accordance with Section 208 of the Immigration and Nationality Act. So folks, there are ways. There's a saying in English that where there's a will, there is a way. And the bottom line is that there's nothing for you to be disappointed if the H1b quota is gone. And now what we're going to do, we're going to take a short break. And after that, we are going to come back. And I'm going to just answer some of the questions which I've received, especially after the 2013 cap has been over with. And how should these people be handling their cases? And these are different questions on the employment-based visa. And we'll be back after this break, and we'll be taking the question and answers. Stay with us, don't go away.
Gay and Associates, attorneys and counselors at law specializing in immigration law, are proud to announce the opening of 2 new offices. Now open. Jackson Heights and Ozone Park, Queens. Immigration, bankruptcy, divorce, personal injury.
Call us for a free initial personal consultation at 718-263-5999. Gay and Associates, attorneys and counselors at law. Hello friends, we are back again now with the H1b quota. The disappointing news that the 2013 quota is full, and as we had earlier discussed, the options which you can exercise in the event if you did not make it for the quota. So we got a lot of questions from viewers actually on our internet yesterday or via email that Mr. Gehi, I am very much, the first question was that Mr. Gehi, I'm very much disappointed that we only have 65,000 visas. Is Congress going to increase it? Based upon my analysis, I don't see that. So we are going to be stuck for the timing with the 65,000 cap and the 20,000 cap for master students, as you all rightly know. So we're not looking at the good old days wherein the cap used to be increased. So at this time we are stuck. So if you did not make it, exercise the options that I told you earlier. And if you did miss the earlier part of my segment, please visit gehigreencard.com, and all the segments that we have done over a period of time are on our portal. That's gehigreencard.com, and you'll get all the information there in connection with your question. Second question was, Mr. Gehi, I came on a student visa and I'm currently out of status, and my I-94 says D/S. Other than marriage, is there a possibility I have? The answer is yes, you have a possibility. If you have a bachelor's degree, and even now, if you can find an H1b sponsoring company, if they sponsor you, there is nothing for you to worry. You can qualify for the H1, and if your H1 gets approved, you'll have to go back to your country. But the good news is that you will not be subjected to the 10-year bar unless and until you are in proceedings, but you will not be subjected to the bar, and you can come back on the H1b. Yes, we've done this before. So if you are out of status and if you have a company that is ready to sponsor you, you need to speak to a very seasoned lawyer and you'll be able to get back on status. The next question was from a student who said, Mr. Gehi, I just fell out of status because I was sick. I want to get back on status. What do you do in these cases? From all my experience, what I've done, wherein you really had a serious issue, immigration will look at it very carefully. And if you have doctor's records, medical records, what we do in these cases is we apply for reinstatement of status. And if you apply for reinstatement of status, the good news is that if you get approved, you're back to your student visa. So the question is, if you're out of status, consider reinstatement of status. That may be a fantastic possibility. Fourth question, Mr. Gehi, I applied for an H1b and now we retained a law firm and we have gotten a huge query about the H1b visa. What should I do? First thing is, look at the complexity of the H1b. And if it's a very complex H1b, then you will need a very seasoned law firm. For example, what we did recently is that we had a query wherein the client had gotten a 12-page query and we were able to answer every question and the H1b was approved. So the question is that when you have a complex query, you need to be very careful, especially because if you're not going to answer the questions properly, your H1b visa will be denied. And then if you're not on a student visa, then you can wind up in troubled waters unless and until you appeal the decision or leave the country. Another question was from a student who said, Mr. Gehi, I'm on a student visa in this country and I came to the United States 6 months ago and I met this wonderful woman who's an American citizen. Can I get married to her and I get my green card? Of course, yes. If she's an American citizen, if you're on a student visa, if you both love each other, and if your intent is to establish a life with her, then the great news is that you can qualify for a green card within 6 months. Next question is from a viewer who said, Mr. Gehi, I am a green card holder in this country and I committed a crime and I pled guilty in the criminal court. Can I become a citizen? My answer to the question is, depends on the nature of the crime. For example, if you got charged with a crime involving moral turpitude, and if that particular act occurred recently, then you have to wait for a period of 5 years, and even after that you may have issues. But it would be great for you to consult a lawyer, because crimes and immigration is something that is very serious, and you will have to see an attorney who can understand the complexities of the correlationship between criminal and immigration law. The next question is from a viewer who said, Mr. Gehi, I've been illegal in this country for 26 years. And my girlfriend is a green card holder. And I never filed a case before. Can I get a green card based upon the fact that she's a green card holder in the United States? The answer is no. If you're not grandfathered, you cannot get your green card here. You'll have to ensure the fact that she becomes a citizen, and then be careful, see that your documents are properly reviewed, then you may be eligible for a green card in this country. So the next question was that, Mr. Gehi, I'm a very famous dancer, but I don't have a degree. What are my options? If you don't have a degree, if you're a world-renowned dancer, you can still qualify for the O visa, or you may also qualify for the national interest waiver depending on the facts and circumstances of your case. I think it would be good for you to make an appointment with a lawyer and explore your options accordingly. Next question was, Mr. Gehi, I am a Christian living in a country wherein I'm being forced to change my religion. What are my options? The good news is that if you're new to this country, consider political asylum. Because under the law, if you're being forced to change your religion, and if you can show that you'll be persecuted if you do not change your religion, the good news is that you can get your green card, which means that you can first basically get an approval for political asylum in the United States and later on qualify for permanent residence over here. The next very important question was from a viewer. Mr. Gehi, my husband is in immigration jail. What is the first thing I need to do? Retain a law firm immediately. Try to first get him out on bond. Even if he's in any part of the United States, we handle cases from all over the US. So if he is in immigration detention, the first thing that we do is we try to get him out on bond. If he is eligible for bond, but not in all cases, he may be eligible. But however, we first explore the possibility of a bond. And after that, we do the rest, which means we try to fight for his permanent residence in the United States. So friends, this is Attorney Nuresh Gehi. We've had a fantastic session today. And thanks to Sandeep. Sandeep, thank you very much.
Thank you, Attorney Gehi, for answering all our questions in relation to H1b cap.
It's always a pleasure being with you, Sandeep, and keep working on some more interesting news as you get. So, I mean, also the good news is that Sandeep has been extremely kind enough to create a web portal for us, and which is gehigreencard.com. And if you have missed any of our segments, you can go to gehigreencard.com and watch all our videos. So, suppose in case if you're interested in a particular topic, please visit gehigreencard.com, and you'll get a chance to see all the shows that we've done, especially for a lot of immigration information. And I think, Sandeep, I believe we have a lot of shows covered over there. Can you talk a little bit about to our viewers?
We have an entire list of basically A to Z of immigration visas. We have
Literally
everything
there.
covered. Yeah, literally, we're almost there. We got every single episode that we've ever done. It's all uploaded on gehigreencard.com.
So, I mean, if you have any shows or if there's anything that you're missing, try to go on our website at gehigreencard.com, and you can see a live video portal of Naresh Gehi on it, and we are talking about different immigration issues. So thank you, Sandeep, and we'll be back again with some more interesting news for our viewers from the world of law.
Gehi & Associates, attorneys and counselors at law specializing in immigration law, are proud to announce the opening of 2 new offices. Now open. Jackson Heights and Ozone Park, Queens. Immigration, bankruptcy, divorce, personal injury.
Call us for a free initial personal consultation at 718-263-5999. Gehi & Associates, attorneys and counselors at law.